Okay, they're talking about Stephen Miller. I believe that's the topic here. FYI. All right, we're gonna finish up a little workout with our arms before we go to bed. Super tired. I am super tired. Putting the weights in, even the little bit of weights that I've been doing. It's a little bit. I'm not even trying to go big. Just trying to flood the zone, blood. Yeah. So just trying to get back down to under 160 now. So that's awesome. Here we go.
He is a total freak show. And here he is talking about himself on Fox News. Play the clip.
Are run by Democrats. Look, this has become their religion. Celebrating criminals, celebrating predators, celebrating illegal aliens who prey on our citizens.
Okay, this is a classic case of projection that psychologists talk about. He celebrates all of the things that he's claiming that Democrats celebrate. This guy is the weirdest psychological makeup I've ever seen. He's literally like a Jewish Nazi. He is a total Nazi. He's the one behind the White House ASMR videos that advertise cruelty, and he is far more ambitious than Trump is. Trump can only see what's in front of him, which is a camera, and I'm going to do Sharpie pen, and I'm going to put gold leaf, and look at my angel. Oh my God, I want to steal the World Cup trophy. You know, he's just like a little klepto. But Stephen Miller is a total psycho. So this is what is on Fox News. Here's another thing that's hitting mainstream media. This is what MAGA is talking about when literally inflation is through the roof. The executive is trying to take over the Fed. The Supreme Court is abdicating their power to the aforementioned kleptomaniac Kanks. And here's Tucker, who is in the Death Star, right in the epicenter of MAGA culture. Here he is on Piers Morgan. Listen to this word salad insanity.
There's no such thing as a multicultural society. It's not sustainable. One culture will overwhelm the other. Again, it's not the same as race. It's not identical to race. It's connected, but it's not the same. But multiculturalism is by definition insane. No, it's never happened. It never will happen. One culture will predominate. It will impose its values on everybody else. I mean, the gay thing, which was not a thing 40 years ago, gay was a slur, all of a sudden becomes mandatory to worship at the altar of gayness or whatever. Trans stuff, sodomy, pride, okay. All this stuff.
This is a jet stream of bullshit that is mainstreamed to the people who are looking for cover to feel better about being racist. I mean, I could dismantle everything he's saying about the gay stuff, and we could go back before Christianity and look at Roman times where people were openly gay and bisexual, and it really wasn't that big of a deal. But, you know, the danger of him saying this stuff is my maternal grandfather was a gay man and had to live his entire life closeted in Dallas, Texas. And it wasn't until after he died that my mother had kind of pieced it all together, and we went and talked to my grandmother about it. And it really makes me sad that he lived his entire life closeted and in shame because of people like Tucker Carlson. And this is what MAGA, this is how regressive their conversations are. You just heard from Stephen Miller. You just heard from Tucker Carlson that multiculturalism isn't possible. Well, that's what we've been doing for the last couple hundred years in America and trying to make it better and better. So these people are homophobic, racist, and they're regressive. Like the way they think is it all goes back to that make America great again. Pumps, this should be a layup for Democrats to take out. It absolutely should be the easiest thing on the planet. Let me just show you what's going on over on the Dem side. And I want to show you and Pumps this comparison, because the shit that we just saw, freak show Stephen Miller and Tucker's jet stream of bullshit. I mean, this should just be so easy to make a layup argument against these people. But instead, the Democratic leadership is word salading themselves. Bernie Sanders was in Brooklyn with Zoran Mamdani over the weekend. And here is what Bernie says about Democratic leadership.
Find it hard to understand how the major Democratic leaders in New York State are not supporting the Democratic candidate. One might think that if a candidate starting at 2% in the polls gets 50,000 volunteers, creates enormous excitement, gets young people involved in the political process, gets non-traditional voters to vote, Democratic leaders will be jumping up and down. This is our guy.
Yeah, you would think. Yeah, you would. When you think about how the Democratic Party has failed to endorse him in favor of establishment politics, when their establishment politician is in bed with Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu, I mean, it's crazy. It is insane to me. And that is why, in my mind, we lost the last two elections, because we are not playing, we're not looking and listening to the base. Well, and if you, okay, the shit that I played first, I did that on purpose because the split screen for that is what Zoran is talking about, affordability. He got 50,000 volunteers, a total grassroots movement. He is beating the field. He won the Democratic primary. And it irritates the shit out of me that establishment Democrats, particularly I'm talking about Hakeem Jeffries right here, to be a leader, you have to be a compromiser. And it should be such a layup for him to go stand with Zoran and stand up and say, I agree with him on about 9 out of 12 things that he's saying here. And I want to focus on those things. And that's the affordability crisis. That's the fact that we have a welfare system for billionaires, that the working class waitress or the working class bus driver pays a higher percentage in taxes than a billionaire does. I'm very worried about people filing for medical bankruptcy. And there's been no compromise, no leadership from Hakeem on this. And David Axelrod, who is Obama's former top advisor, and you may remember Obama went through kind of the same thing, weird name, melanin in his skin, major grassroots movement. And the Democratic establishment pushed back against him as well. But let's listen to what David Axelrod has to say about the Democrats' decision, the Democratic leadership's decision not to have moral clarity on this issue.
Democrats are not embracing him.
Yeah, I think it's a mistake. I mean, I understand it. First of all, there's probably donor pressure from, particularly in New York, on this, and I'm sure that in part there's a fear that he will become emblematic of the whole Democratic Party. But understand that he ran on the issue of affordability and on a kind of positive politics that got, as Bernie said, many young people in that city to involve themselves in the process. What is the message that they are sending? By the way, he carried Hakeem Jeffries' district 2-1.
Wow. He carried Jeffries' district 2-1. So what's happening here is it appears that it's AIPAC money. And for me, as a person who is desperate to fight against this fascism, who is desperate to make sure that we don't go backwards the ways of what Tucker Carlson wants to do, the ways of the Turning Point people with all of the anti-woman rhetoric, Stephen Miller's concentration camp wet dream. Why are the Democrats beholden to the same lobbyist that helped elect Donald Trump? And this lobby, AIPAC, says we want to root out anti-Semitism. So they partner with the people that want to do away with education, who are far right-wingers, which is an incubator for anti-Semitism. Right-wing thought and lack of education is where Nazism blossoms. So it's this really weird marriage. And I wish Hakeem could just come to the public and say, I was totally beholden, and I thought that Israel, that was our best ally. They're clearly doing genocide. I'm sorry I'm late to the party here, but we're in the fight for the heart and soul of our country. I don't agree with Zoran's maybe a little bit further left than I am, but I'm about compromise. When you think about the political races in Europe, they have like 6 political parties. And you always hear about the socialists coming together with the centrists to fight off, like in France, to fight off Marie Le Pen, who is a far right fascist ruler. You don't have that sort of compromise here. You don't have leadership in Hakeem that is willing to do that style of compromise, because the fact is the libs, the centrists, and the leftists need to come together. And the thing that's preventing us from coming together to form a real coalition against these fuckers is AIPAC. And that's so devastating. It's so devastating to me that the people that fell prey to genocide in Germany are now committing it in Gaza, and they are controlling both sides of the political party. And as you just said earlier, Pumps, that Hakeem and others in the Democratic Party have not outwardly spoken against Andrew Cuomo, who is Trumpian from top to bottom, the special interest, the sexual abuse allegations, not to mention he's second up to Donald Trump. It's devastating. It's really, really devastating that our Democratic leadership is letting us down this much at such a horrible, horrible time. And, you know, Hakeem Jeffries has the luxury of living in a blue state. People in red states, they're fighting for their lives here. You have governments that are mobilizing actively against trans people, gay people, women, and they're putting the 10 Commandments in schools, and that this is the future Speaker of the House. This is his leadership.
Yeah, it is extremely disappointing, particularly in the era of Trump when there's lie after lie after lie. And to piggyback off the money issue, you also have the issue of the strongly worded letter. You know, Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, they're sending strongly worded letters. Stephen Miller is on TV saying, we Democrats support predators and convicts. Dude, it's the easiest thing in the world to say. Donald Trump is both a predator and a convict. If anybody is celebrating predators and convicts,
Here's the problem, Pumps. Hakeem Jeffries has said that. He said it 2 days ago. I saw it in a clip, or yesterday. It's the credible messenger situation. When you don't see him uniting the party right now and uniting the base and actively, like his silence on the Mamdani issue. Here's just a little clip of his leadership pertaining to not only his own district, but he wants to be the Speaker of the House for all Americans. So listen to this.
NC posted in support of Zohran Mamdani's campaign yesterday with a statement of Mamdani saying, we welcome anyone to join this movement. You've met with him twice, and stay tuned, declined to endorse him. Are you out of step with your party on this issue?
I don't know. I guess people are going to have to figure that out. If that's the question you think that my constituents are asking me, because they're not.
What a dick. I mean, seriously, what a dick. The person who answers the question like that and doesn't have the leadership ability to say, I have heard the voters in New York. I am very, very worried about Andrew Cuomo being compromised and not a good candidate. Furthermore, he lost the Democratic primary. So I absolutely don't support him. And Zohran and I agree on 8 out of 12 things. He's a little bit further left than I am, but I have listened to the people in my district. I am listening to the overall message about affordability, but he stands there and he says that. So when everything that you say under that, you don't have credible messengers. It's like MAGA. That's why I'm not a MAGA person. They're not credible messengers. They talk about, family values and they crash Grindr. You know what I mean? And so this just pisses me. It just pisses me off from top to bottom at Hakeem. This is horrible, limp dick energy. It's not even little dick energy. It is limp dick energy that he is saying that when so many Americans are suffering, and he's smug as fuck standing there like that. It just makes me sick. But I want to play you how good Mamdani is at campaigning and how good he is and what a credible messenger he is. The New York Times wrote a piece about everybody in the Hamptons, billionaires, are losing their minds about Mamdani. It's all they can talk about. And so he has somebody do a dramatic reading. And this is A+, 10 out of 10, no notes.
August in the Hamptons. Ocean breezes, oversubscribed Tracy Anderson classes, parking woes, And this year, with a New York City mayoral election looming in the fall, a freakout that the most sumptuous of summer staples has ensued. Even overpriced lobster salad can't seem to make people out here feel better. A veteran political fundraiser said, everyone is talking about it all the time. What they are talking about, for the most part, is whether anyone, specifically former Governor Andrew M. Cuomo or Mayor Eric Adams, can beat the Democratic Socialist Zoran Mamdani. In June, he dared to say on Meet the Press,
I don't think that we should have
the Hamptons is basically group therapy about the mayoral race. In other words, the plutocrats are panicking. Another recent benefit for Mr. Cuomo took place at the Southampton estate of the conservative media executive Jimmy Finkelstein and his wife Pamela Gross, a former advisor to First Lady Melania Trump. Mamdani has a great smile and is wonderfully articulate. His social media is entertaining, and his promises sound fine until you look at the fine print, and they're not realistic.
Okay, I think this is brilliant. I think he is to be a politician these days, you have to be smart. You have to get the attention of the people. You have to be a good campaigner. And he's all of this stuff. And I just want to say to the people in the Hamptons, be careful trying to align yourself with MAGA light. We can report from deep in red states at the epicenter of this MAGA base are people that want your daughters at home being trad wives, are people that want to bully and probably incarcerate gay people if they get their way, if this keeps going. These Christian nationalists are racist to their core. And I noticed from some of the last names there, the people that are hosting these fundraisers are probably Jewish. And I have to tell you, be wary of the Christians that are rapture preppers that want you to be in Israel so that Jesus can come and then send you to hell forever. Because the anti-Semitism that spews from this group, the WASPs, they will not have your back ever. Zoran is not an anti-Semite, and shame on these people where capitalism has been so good to you. So good to you in a city that has been so good to you that you don't have enough decency or integrity to think about the people that don't have health care, that have to work a couple of jobs, that can't afford childcare. And you're a billionaire. If you're $100 million less rich, you're still rich as fuck. Period. Get over it. Seriously, this is really, really a dangerous moment. All right, that's all we have for today on this episode. We'll be back later with more news. Please, buy our book. It's the coolest read of the fall. I hear it's really popping off in the Hamptons. Life is a lazy Susan of shit sandwiches. The link is below.
Alright, let's see what's on cue. Shall we, guys? What's queued up?
We don't really identify mental health as the energy that it deserves. And I think I can...
Oh no, we don't want to listen to that now, guys. Now do we? Got the heater on. Starting to warm up in this joint. Let me get fired back up here. Alright, I'll post this guy too. I was in a little sweaty start up. Back to second.